The Journal of Nature published a new study that states with 95% confidence that a catastrophic event will take place starting as early as 2025 and affect every human on the planet, disrupting weather patterns and creating climate chaos, including deadly droughts, the melting of the ice caps, and sea level rising. Almost every mainstream corporate news media source has picked up this story and spread the study, sounding the alarm for 2025. But is this just more hyped up environmental hysteria or an indication of what will happen in less than 2 years? The study predicts a, quote, forthcoming collapse of the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, also known as AMOC, a natural process which circulates water from north to south and back again in a long cycle within the Atlantic Ocean that helps regulate the Earth's climate, as well as carry nutrients to sustain ocean life. Whether or not the AMOC really does collapse in 2025 may or may not be true. Only time will tell. Perhaps it will just continue to ebb and flow, strengthening and weakening over time as it always has. But the real question is, why 2025? It seems this date has been singled out by scientists, intelligence organizations, and global elites as a time of great destructive and abrupt change, which will ultimately destroy the current state of society. In 2020, I produced a 3-part series called What Will Happen in 2025, which examines some of these predictions. The first was from Deagle.com, which predicted a massive drop in population and GDP in the US, Canada, and most European countries, while Russia, China, India, and other members of the BRICS alliance maintain their population growth and explode in their GDP. Why did Deagle.com predict this dramatic change for 2025? Since then, they've removed these predictions from their site, certainly at the behest of their partners in NATO, the NSA, and the UN. The second prediction for 2025 was made by Global Trends in 2008, and similar to Deagle.com, their report forecasted an end to U.S. dominance on the world stage and, quote, an historic transfer of wealth and power from west to east, signaling a shift to the BRICS alliance. They also predicted that a single international community of nation-states would no longer exist. Almost a post-global government prophecy. All of this from the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The third and creepiest 2025 prediction was from Alice A. Bailey, also known as the prophetess of the United Nations, in her 1957 book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, published by Lucifer Trust. She predicts illumination to mankind from the forces of light for the coming one, and that the crises of today will lead to a massive educational, religious, and economic change until 2025 AD. Quote, a great awakening in the human family and a major spiritual reorientation. And spoiler alert, she's not talking about the second advent of Christ. She's talking about Satan and his legions revealing themselves and the power structure they've used to control the world. In other words, the title of her book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy. So what will really happen in 2025? Climate chaos, famines, mass death, economic collapse, and a satanic deception to ensnare mankind? Only God knows what the future holds, but we can look hopefully to the return of Jesus Christ, even if we don't know the exact time and date of his arrival. So hold fast, pray, prepare for the worst, and do not be deceived by another supposed savior, especially an environmental one. Alice A. Bailey, described as the prophetess of the United Nations, also made predictions of a plan for 2025 in her 1957 book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, which was first put out by the publisher Lucifer Trust, who has now changed their name to Lucius Trust to conceal their clear ties to Luciferianism and the Illuminati. The first stanza of the book states, quote, let the forces of light bring illumination to mankind and fulfill the purpose of the coming one. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. What plan is Alice A. Bailey speaking of? On page 193, she says, quote, the whole world problem has reached a crisis today, and its clarification will be the outstanding theme of all progress, education, religious, and economic, until 2025 AD. On page 281, she elaborates about the purpose of the plan for 2025, quote, a great and new movement is proceeding, and a tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This will go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, 1957 to 2025, very great changes will be seen taking place, and at the Great General Assembly of the Hierarchy in 2025, the date and all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy, a great awakening in the human family, and a major spiritual reorientation. Externalization of the hierarchy? Major spiritual reorientation? What is Alice A. Bailey talking about? Bailey believes Sanat Kumara is the greatest lord of the world, as opposed to the heavenly or spiritual. And she believes Sanat Kumara descended from Venus to Earth before mankind. The name Lucifer is one of the ancient Greek names for Venus, and this figure is at the center of the plan Bailey describes in her book. She goes on later to call Lucifer in no unmistakable terms the son of the morning, the prodigal son, and describes him as the ruler of humanity, active intelligence, self-consciousness, and creativity. Why would the UN's false prophet single out the year 2025 for the arrival or externalization of her Luciferian savior? The savior she speaks of surely isn't Jesus Christ returning to earth because she claims to know the time of his coming, when, as Matthew 24:36 explains, quote, "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only." So clearly, Alice A. Bailey's prophecy is not of God. But the question remains, what will happen in 2025? Mass extinction, economic collapse, political dissolvement, the arrival of a Luciferian Messiah that will invert the Christian ethos of Western nations, turning the world upside down on its head? Or are these prophecies false predictions, put out by obscure organizations as a psychological operation to demoralize populations across the West? I guess in 5 years' time, we'll see for ourselves what 2025 has in store for mankind.
Let me bring you up to date with a few extreme weather events across the world over the past few days. This was Vermont yesterday after what's been termed a 1 in a 1,000-year extreme rainfall event. 3 times the normal monsoon rain has swollen rivers in parts of India. At the weekend, big impacts from record rainfall in Japan. And at the end of last week, Spain, Zaragoza, saw heavy rain and hail right through the streets.
Around the world, a series of extreme weather events have intensified.
We could see some records broken right here in the state of California. So what I'm about to show everyone, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, understand it, and even feel how hot this is. Look at this, Death Valley.
Perhaps the most alarming issue is not even on land. Sea temperatures off the coast of Florida are rising to abnormal levels, reaching 32 degrees, threatening to bleach vital coral reefs and endangering marine life.
Extreme heat is driving extreme rain in northern India, where unusually heavy monsoons have caused deadly flooding and landslides.
To the alarming streak of record-shattering heat, the Earth's temperature reaching an all-time high 4 days in a row. The average global temperature hitting its highest level ever recorded, with today possibly marking a new record for a 5th straight day.
But have a look at these pictures. These are from Spain, actually. Very heavy storms, heavy rain, flash flooding, and they've had a heat wave. I mean, just recently had extreme temperatures. Look at that.
And these pictures are from the north of the country. They show water, icy water, running through the street.
Tonight, raging rivers from record-breaking storms.
This is the worst this has ever been.
And the dramatic weather patterns reported around the world have devastated parts of India. Flash floods in the capital Delhi and in northern mountain regions swept away cars and houses and even knocked down bridges, bringing daily life to a standstill.
In India's remote north, rain is expected at this time of year, but not this much. The country is thought to have had the highest daily July rainfall for 40 years yesterday. Torrents of water turned roads into rivers of mud.
I never saw such rainfall in my lifetime. I never saw such level of destruction before.
Scientists say climate change is driving more severe weather everywhere, including here in New York State. A slow-moving storm dumping rain, causing flash flooding. More than 20 million people across America's northeast now under flood alerts.
They're calling this a 1,000-year event. It's only the second time ever that the National Weather Service issued a flash flood emergency. The last time was Hurricane Ida. My friends, this is the new normal.
Zaragoza in Spain experienced unprecedented flooding just a few days ago. Residents caught by surprise as their roads turned to rivers. At the same time, temperatures keep climbing. The World Meteorological Organization saying the planet has probably just experienced its hottest week ever.
The ocean is rapidly heating up. Global temperatures keep breaking records.
The hottest day in recorded history.
It started weeks ago. June was the hottest month for the planet on record. And then the news that shocked everyone this week. Planet Earth hitting its hottest average temperature ever on Tuesday.
Death Valley and the community of Furnace Creek are justifying their names. It could reach 55 degrees Celsius, 131 degrees Fahrenheit, by later today. So America, like Europe, is in the grip of extreme weather this summer. And scientists are warning, this is just the start.